that would have been fine for the day. You could have said, maybe I'll do some gardening in my own way, on my own time today. But instead, you decided to be part of a group. So, if you're here, learn about gardening to help out with the garden and the world that's around you. See that there's other people too, who are also interested like you, to maybe make this world a beautiful space, and maybe possibly just make the world a slightly better place. So if you're there for all of these things, I'd say welcome to G.I.F.T Day. Oh, I know that number never works out right all the time. Sometimes it rains on your parade, but you know in the garden, when it rains, usually things work out fine. So we're doing your best. We know that you are here to help us make the world a better place. I get to see you say, baby, your time here is well spent. Welcome to the G.I.F.T today. Oh, have a taco. Welcome to the G.I.F.T today. Or your own coffee. Welcome to the G.I.F.T today. There's water too, so welcome to G.I.F.T today. And starting now. That's all of our Steck, y'all.
Thank you.
Entertainment packed into a 90-minute show.
Well, like Ollie is a really good example of this idea of mutualism. As a musician, he's the best sideman I know, by far. He plays trumpet and he plays accordion, he can sing. So then, like, you know, as life evolves and everything, he's learned to master this craft of supporting others, being part of like a musical community. And then we were talking with Esther a moment ago. I was introducing Esther to Calvin, and Esther I first met through the environmental stuff in Austin because she was running a lot of the best programs for the city. But then at some point I found out that she was also part of this effort to integrate live music culture in Austin with city policy and all that stuff in a positive way. The thing I love most about what I'm trying to show you all today is I think it's a new way to kind of center so that we can have more culture, more mortar between the bricks of our individuality. It's like everyone's special, everyone's important. And I've learned that through doing this work, being outdoors, working with landscapes and working with other species. And this is where I got it. What's the best resource for stabilizing planetary temperature? It's not the equator, it's the life in that system. It's all this infrastructure. Ecological infrastructure, tall trees, rich diversity, exchanging things. Like any healthy community, there's going to be cool musicians, there's going to be opinionated people, there's going to be education, there's going to be post office, there's going to be like a lot of different things happening. This is what's powering essentially the best cooling resource on the planet that we can interact with right now. And then the last piece of this is this one, the moisture system of the planet. And if you remove these trees from the tropical forest system, it'll change the flow at the equator. This infrastructure is essentially the container that keeps that moisture from going crazy and leaching up into other places or getting too hot and so forth. Science has only started writing about this in less than the last 10 years in America, in the English-speaking world. Basically, 2016 is when it started to get established that landscapes are fully dependent on this forest infrastructure for irrigation. That you don't get this over the landscape without the trees. But the point is, like, again, erosion, reversing erosion. Realizing that it's a very powerful resource to reverse erosion if you're trying to cool things down, collect carbon, clean the air, purify your water, and get rain to stay in the cycle that you're used to, among other reasons. So this sponge is going to be layered with some lava rock today, because lava rock's porous, and it's good at bacteria, it's good at holding moisture, getting porosity of it, and it's good at burrowing down into the soil. Then we're going to put on a green food like compost. So we got this structural element of rocks that are lava and other kind of mineral-based things Then our green food. What I've been doing is another mineral soil on top. And then on top of that, Dilla dirt, which I love. But Kirby doesn't love. And then on top of that, just I would love to talk to you about that. We can talk about it in just a moment. And then on top of that, some sort of light mulch. But the final element is the light mulch to just keep the intensity of the sunlight that we have here from cooking out all the life and what you just put over here. It's not so much to hold the moisture in, because you want the moisture going down and down. It's to keep the moisture from getting sucked out, if that makes sense, by this intense light.
City gets the best attention. Where'd my sentence go? Who they're asking you for money from? Is that British? That was really sounded uncomfortable.
No.
It's really.
Nobody actually says it the right way, so
Okay.
it does come out. But you know what? We're not talking about gardens. Or water.
I'm wondering what this engine is.
Yeah, what is it?
So this is a picture of a Sterling engine. It is 304 stainless steel at the base that the gases inside of it, the air inside is expanding. And it goes out this one-way valve up into a point where it's cooling down as fast as it's heating up.
A parabola means there's a focal. So you can take sunlight and you can focus it on a single point. And whatever you put in that point can heat it to hundreds of degrees. I just took some thin plywood and put some mylar, which is really cheap, reflective material. And it was enough to, within 4 minutes, I was starting a fire on a stick that I put in the focal point. So you can really generate a lot of heat very quickly with something like that for energy, and do it in a way that is, intelligent and doesn't create a crisis of want. To do that, to adopt some of these practices, we started getting businesses on South First to compost, restaurants and coffee shops and so forth. Give them a place to put their compost and start getting towards a zero waste model.
I think a lot, in a lot of cases, it's like an optional. It's optional. It's seen as optional,
There's a lot of things that are easier to do.
Exactly. So the system that exists, it's large and inefficient and everything, and it's not helpful, is easier. And it's more normal. And so the side projects that are like good ideas and it takes a long time for it to become part of the psyche. People don't all study environmental sciences or resource management. So a lot of people just don't even get it.
Yeah.
I saw a great article this morning on that, kind of in a way. It's about this idea of how social media, really meant to connect people in 2009. And then by 2015 or so, we realized that it was actually the dissolution of the mortar of an institutionality. So then the issue there is a lot of that mortar is pretty bad. At the same time, that was our institutionality.
The whole thing, we're talking about compost, and I immediately think about the green cart, that I use every week to put all my compost in. I don't cook a lot, so I don't have a whole lot of compost to deal with, but I was at my daughter's, and, I brought her up. We composted, but, I just watched her throw all this food in the trash. I realized that part of the problem is that she doesn't know what that means when you just throw it in the trash. And that used to be part of the education that the city did when they were first talking about compost, because the reason we want you to compost is that it's creating methane in the landfill, and the methane is even worse than just regular carbon. So that message has gotten lost. But I was really, frustrated to see that.
40 years of education. Yeah.
with the time.
Yeah,
Through
commitment.
the decades.
And then whatever time it takes.
End up being reelected.
And like you said, now the kids,
Elected officials continue those projects.
so I gotta go, but I just wanted, it's nice to hear, to know that we have progressed, and I know y'all are